Welcome to our Binance Australia monthly market update. My name's Liam and I'm joined by our CEO, Leigh Travers, to take you through all the big news for crypto in September. Welcome, Leigh.
Great to be here, Liam. Let's get into it.
The Reserve Bank of Australia increased interest rates by another 50 basis points this month, with the RBA Governor Philip Lowe citing that it's likely a sixth consecutive month will follow. We've seen similar rate hikes in the US and in the UK. What do you think is going on with the markets and what are we likely to see in the near future?
Well, those trends of rising interest rates looking like gaining a lot more momentum with analysts out there. I mean, the same analysts that were calling for low rates forever, modern monetary theory, they're now sort of packing on to expecting higher interest rates and really as a defense against this inflation. So inflation numbers have been persistently high, which means interest rates are getting higher. That trend is likely to continue. What that means is there's less credit available in the markets, which makes those calling for a longer bear market in crypto, or those noises are likely to increase. However, there is one element that may cause an end to that, and that's really the strength that we're seeing in the US dollar. Super strong right now, and potentially one way that we can see markets reversing against that, either the Fed making a decision to try and halt the rise of the US dollar, to put some action there, reducing interest rates or reducing the rise in interest rates. The other one might be global central banks working together to stop this rise of US dollar, to make their currencies more competitive. I think the inflation is a story that's likely to continue. So I think it's a bit of a central bank war at the moment that we're all looking for, as effectively a way to bring more liquidity back into these markets, which are pretty tough for investors right now.
In September, the British pound crashed to an all-time low against the US dollar, and the euro also dropped below the US dollar. How has the Australian dollar performed against other global currencies, and how can users protect the value of their holdings?
We thought crypto was volatile. Forex markets are at multi-year highs from a volatility point of view, and the Aussie dollar, it's not at lows last seen since the COVID crash. Emerging markets and currencies are under pressure from this rising US dollar caused by the higher interest rates and a risk-off environment, and that means trouble for Australian investors if we're looking at what the Aussie dollar and Aussie dollar investments are able to purchase on a global level. Better for holders of US dollar assets. Obviously, Binance users are utilizing the Earn platform. They're able to get additional returns on their crypto, including in USD denominated stablecoins. So that's been some area of protection. For looking at more of an investment portfolio, I mean, the typical 60-40 equities and bond portfolio, that's under pressure too. Both of those areas are struggling. So rising inflation, investors are looking at harder assets, commodities, for example, as well as harder money. So Bitcoin and other crypto assets, I think, will start to come into the picture too.
Last month, we saw the RBA release the CBDC initiative, and this month, the US stock exchange NASDAQ is making its first major push into crypto by soon offering custody service for institutional investors for ETH and BTC. We're seeing more and more institutional traders in crypto. What does this mean for the future of crypto in Australia?
Holy hell, these are serious institutions. We're talking about the NASDAQ, we're talking about the RBA. Certainly not something we thought 4 or 5 years ago would be coming into crypto, coming into digital assets, coming into blockchain, but they are here. What we do know is institutions require a safe, licensed custody offering. So I think this custody piece is really a long lead item for institutions to enter the market. Yes, we've seen some, predominantly smaller family offices, hedge funds, etc. But we're still waiting for pension funds, self-managed super funds, yes, but more of the retail retirement funds to start to enter the marketplace. And we're seeing some of the infrastructure now being set up, as well as Australia's largest institutions, the world's largest institutions enter. So I think it's looking very strong for some of that long tail of the larger institutions to actually start hitting the market.
After years of research and intense development, Ethereum finally pulled off the merge. Last month, we released a really detailed video breaking down the reasons behind the merge and how it could affect our Binance Australia users. So check back in the video description for a link to this. But Leigh, how have the markets responded post-merge?
From the Ethereum merge point of view, we did talk about in the video that the risks of it going ahead from a technology perspective were limited because of the amount of research and development that had been happening for years. The market was ready for it. On the other side, we mentioned expectations. Was there an expectations from traders that we'd see a rise in price? That hasn't been met. And was there an expectation that we saw from users there'd be a big decrease in the fees for using the Ethereum blockchain? That was another risk. And potentially two of those areas, the rise that we didn't see, the lack of a fee drop, which was obviously expected from a deeply involved user perspective. We didn't see that. So we saw a decline in prices, in tandem, I think, with what equities and so forth, emerging currencies have fallen. So a bit of a disappointment from the pricing perspective, but from a technology point of view, it's here, it's done. There's less risks now for Ethereum. The price is lower than before. We're seeing less supply entering the marketplace. From an energy intensity, carbon emission point of view, 99% reduction. So I think things are good, despite the fact that we have seen a dip in the price.
This week, Australian telco Optus was hacked, compromising millions of users' data. How can users protect themselves from these attacks? And for Binance Australia users that were affected, what should they be doing?
I think it's a really serious breach of data, something we take very seriously at Binance Australia. So we've sent out a warning for all users when logging on to be extra careful around clicking on SMSs, clicking on emails that may be a phishing attempt if their data was compromised. And we have sent out an email to all our users of what to be aware of. For example, we recommend using Google Authenticator or YubiKey authentication for 2FA rather than SMS. We've shared some details of providers you can contact if you think your information may be compromised, how to protect potentially your credit score and other elements. We've got our CS team, customer support team, ready to support any users that are affected. We've got as well some additional monitoring in place around those accounts that we can see for any suspicious activities. So certainly not foolproof, but we are doing everything we can to prevent any loss or issue for Binance Australia customers as a result of that breach.
Naked Life Beverages has become the first Australian brand hosted in the ANZ Worldline Payment Solution showroom in the Decentraland Metaverse. Naked Life products were on display throughout September, along with advertising and promotions for the brand through the showroom. Leigh, are Australian users ready to interact with brands in the Metaverse, and what could make this more viable?
Well, Liam, I don't think we've seen Australian brands take full advantage of the Metaverse yet, which has been talked up as a $1 trillion opportunity. Is ANZ the brand that Australian Metaverse consumers want to interact with? Not sure. Is there a bigger opportunity for consumer brands, for sports teams that want to have a closer relationship to their community, to their customers? I think that's potentially where we're going to see some additional growth. We've started to see launches of NFTs, for example, from the sporting and consumer goods brands throughout Australia. I think that's a trend that's going to continue. I think the more elite experience, high-end experience that brands can offer, the more communication, collaboration, the better result they're going to have with their community, with their customer base to build an avid following. So I think that's what we're looking for, some of the more consumer brands, sporting brands to really take the next leap for Australian brands in the Metaverse.
Starbucks will offer NFT loyalty program on the Polygon network. Starbucks Odyssey will allow customers to purchase and earn digital collectible stamps in the form of an NFT that offers benefits and immersive experiences. Are we starting to see global brands develop legitimate utility with NFTs?
I think we are starting to see some of the global brands deliver the right NFT presentation for their clients, for their customer base. They're really looking to add utility when NFTs aren't mass produced, when they're exclusive, when they're able to connect deeply with a loyal customer, the customer has a better experience. They're able to then be an advocate for your brand, bring in additional consumers, and you're able to reward them for the long term. So I think that's fantastic. Where we're also seeing brands enter the NFT marketplace is around the sporting market. And I think that's another huge opportunity, not only connect with the brand, but also with the players. And I think that's a trend that we'll be watching.
And finally, we were lucky enough to attend one of Australia's biggest crypto conferences to date, the Australian Crypto Convention at the Gold Coast Exhibition Centre. The positive sentiment was incredible, and it felt like almost every single one of the nearly 4,000 guests came and spoke to me at our Binance Australia booth. But it was incredible. What was your experience of ACC?
The Australian Crypto Convention was a lot of fun. 3,000 or 4,000 crypto interested folks that all wanted to learn more, and it felt like all wanted to be around the Binance team and the Binance booth. Fantastic. We took a few learnings away as well. One is some of the products that we've launched, Binance Australia derivatives, Binance Earn. Consumers want to know more, how they can access it, who's eligible, what do they do. So we'll have more content coming through on that. The other takeaway was getting to meet project founders. They wanted to know more about Binance, how the investment arm works, how the listing process works, what the BNB chain could offer them. And I think that's something that we can bring to the market, offer these businesses that Binance is involved in, that encompass Binance's ecosystem. So how project founders can get introduced and how they can make access towards those sort of opportunities.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for your time, Leigh. It's been great to hear your take on the month's biggest news. Please let us know what you thought of this video in the comments, and let's keep the discussion going. Till next time.